Going to make a very quick video for my mate Bravo. You've all heard me talk about Bravo before. You probably saw the video I did when I interviewed him in the Union Jack Club, and he talked about his new book, and he talked about PTSD, and he talked about his some of the situations he got into the military. And there's the book. It's When War Follows You Home. It's a great read. It's not a long read. It's interesting. I've said this before, but it really sums up a soldier's life in the past 50 years. If you want to know what a soldier's life was like in the past 50 years in the military, it's like what was in this book. I joined the military 40 years ago next year, which makes me very, very old. But Bravo's book, it showed things hadn't really changed in the intervening years between me joining and Bravo joining and serving. And Bravo got in touch with me yesterday. He says, Richie, he says, look, it's next week's Mental Health Awareness Week, or whatever they call it. And years ago, I would have kind of poo-pooed that. I said, that's for weak people, you know. How wrong was I? And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. But I now know that mental health issues are very, very real. And the reason I know is because I suffered something pretty catastrophic in terms of mental health in the past probably 18 months. And for me, the solution to my problems I found in this book. And it's not the Quran, by the way, it's the Holy Bible, and in the person of Jesus Christ. And I'm not saying that, well, I am going to say this. I think that's the solution for everybody. I think the reality is we all need Christ, whether we realise it or not. And I've got a lot of atheist friends. I've got a lot of atheists watch my channel and watch this channel. But when I was in the deepest, darkest place I've ever been in my life, the only solution was to come to Christ and cry out to Christ. And I've been, well, anyway, yeah. So we all go through things, and we all need to work out how we can survive. But I really do believe that one of the big issues that people don't talk about when it comes to mental health is spirituality and religion. And if you come genuinely to Christ and genuinely understand what Christ has to offer everybody, which is salvation, the Bible talks about Christians having the mind of Christ. Now, I've been a Christian for many years, but I kind of wandered away from the faith about the time that I started getting involved in the movement, and you know, that's a whole other story. But when I went through my mental health crisis, and let's say nobody likes talking about these things, nobody likes talking about themselves, but when I was going through that and I was in those deepest, darkest places, no human being could help. You know, and the problem with the drowning man is he can grab people and pull them down with him, and that's a you know, another thing as well. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking about if you're going through something and you're telling people about it, they can't really help you. The only person that can help you, I believe, is God. And in terms of Christ, I want you to think about this. I mean, there's a verse in the Gospel of Luke, I think it is, where it describes Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. It says he was in agony, and it was anguish of soul that it's talking about. Agony and anguish is the word that's used, and that was him going through what would be described as a mental health crisis. Now, his wasn't a result of his sin. The reality is, a lot of us, our mental health crises are kind of self-inflicted. I think that's the truth. You know, it's nobody else's fault. If you go through something, a lot of it's probably down to stuff that you've done. And that's another big issue that people don't like to talk about. You know, everyone wants to blame everybody else. Well, I would say probably 80% of my problems were self-generated. But God helped me. God forgave me. God intervened and put me in my right mind. And I'd never been through anything like that. It was very, very, very severe and very serious. And you know, will that never happen again? I don't know. I don't want it to ever happen again. But I know this. I know what the solution is. If for me, if it does happen again, I come back to Christ, and I just cast myself on God's mercy. And Joel Beeke, who's a pastor in America, said this. He said, the difference between a Christian and everybody else, a Christian always has somewhere to go. I don't know how people cope that have mental health problems that don't believe. Well, of course I do know, because they do what I was doing. I mean, I was drinking. I wasn't doing drugs. It's not my thing, but I was drinking and just drowning out whatever was going on in my life with alcohol, to the extent that I was drinking every night of the week. And when I was away with the movement stuff, I'd have been, really tearing into it. So, that's the reality of what I went through. And the only help for me came from Christ, not from a bottle, not from drugs, not from medication, but from Christ. And if you're on medication for mental health, don't stop taking your meds, for goodness sake. But for me, I didn't go to the doctors. I went to the great physician, and that's Jesus. So Mental Health Week, buy Bravo's book. The link's going to be in the description below. I know a lot of my content is talking about God, but when God has done something in your life and saved your life, literally, then I'm not going to stop talking about that. And if people don't like it, well, I can't do anything about that. It's just the truth of what happened to me. So, Anyway, buy Bravo's book. And on another note, everybody get to London for the 1st of June for the demo that we're going to have. It's going to be mega. See you all soon. Thanks now. Bye.